What's your favorite online game? Do you like bonding with your friends through adventures on RuneScape and WoW?
A lot better than we usually do.
Alright, chums up.
Ready, guys?
Let's do this. Leroy Dragons!
Oh my god, he just ran in.
Does hanging out on VR chat or Tower Unite sound more your speed? Or do you and your friends like to get sweaty on Fortnite, Apex, and Overwatch?
What the fuck?
Being able to connect through video games is a great way to escape reality for a bit while still socializing with those closest to you and even making new friends along the way, even on one of the internet's most mysterious games. In this video, we're diving into the eerie world of Worlds.com. Worlds.com, otherwise known as Worlds Chat, launched in 1995 as a 3D chat service that is still up and running to this day. The platform uses pre-existing 3D avatars and models to fill its different worlds and hubs. World's website embodies the early days of the internet with a simplistic layout and old-school color scheme. It's straight to the point, no fancy trailers, no flashy buttons, just a download link, system requirements, a few screenshots, and a list of basic features that you can expect from the game. There's really not much to look at here, but with that, it's time for us to join. Before we can start exploring, we have to make our character profile. The registration opens up in Internet Explorer. A lot of this stuff is completely optional, but there is an incentive of earning some bonus points, so why not? Our character, Clyde, likes sailing, horses, martial arts, and other, and no, he will not elaborate. He's a man of culture, treating his ears to the soothing sounds of folk, acid jazz, and ska. He likes long walks to his bed, and is not a big fan of stinkies. Clyde has royalty checks burning a hole in his pocket from appearing in other videos. He plans on going on a domestic vacation to Montana, but he'll need something to do while he's there, so he's gonna pick up some magazines as well. It looks like you have to have some secret code sent to your email before you log in, which makes me feel like some sort of VIP. Oh, when we finally join, we spawn into this central hub area, and to my surprise, there are actually quite a bit of players in here, but it looks like they're all sleeping? It looks like some players are active. The graphics themselves aren't anything too unnerving, but the character models are what really stuck out to me, especially this one. This one was also a bit interesting, but this one is my favorite so far. There was no sound at all, so I wanted to see if I could get some music going through the music player, but it looks like I either need a CD or I can run the world's background music. The world's background music didn't seem to be working, so it looks like that's also out of the question. Another thing about Worlds.com is that it looks like you have to download each area of the game, which makes sense for the time, though it was a bit annoying having to restart every time I wanted to visit a new world. Luckily, they didn't take too long. It looks like our friend is having some fun in his little corner, so we'll just leave him alone for now. I mean, the few players that are active seem to be friendly. We'll come back and visit them later, but for now, let's check out the avatar world we just downloaded. It looks like we have a few categories of avatars to look through in this world, including strange people, little things, and odds and ends, whatever that means. Okay, my curiosity is killing me, so let's check out strange people. I should not be filming this at 1 a.m. But it looks like the creators of these skins are creative, so that's good to see. Honestly, I was feeling pretty lost so far, so I tried asking for some advice on what I should do to get the most out of my time here, but I think that the active players were a bit busy. The creatures and demons room was pretty tame, just your typical RPG characters, nothing out of the ordinary. Little Things was also pretty innocent. I feel so out of place here. I tried a new strategy here of batch downloading some locations so that I could hopefully have them all installed in one restart. I don't have too high of hopes, but we'll see if it works. Let's check out the next world. The World Center has posters that act as portals to different themed rooms. I tried clicking on the General Worlds poster, but it just pulled up a broken Internet Explorer window. The Superstars portal had images of famous musicians who were big at the time, and I imagine in its heyday that this was a place to connect with others about music. You can even join subrooms dedicated to the specific artists, like the Spice Girls room here. But sadly, there was no one to converse with. It looks like at one point you could even buy merch, which means Worlds.com had advertiser support back in the day. I made my way back to the sports world and was jump scared by audio. This was one of the few places in Worlds that had any, so I wasn't really expecting it. Kind of caught me off guard. The music itself was also a little anxiety inducing. Just have a listen. These rooms were tiny, and there was nothing in them except wallpaper to match the sport, so I assume they were just meant as little hubs to talk about the respective sport with other fans. I took a little break to enjoy the view, and this pretty much sums up how I was feeling about my experience with Worlds.com thus far. And no, it wasn't that it was some sort of outer worldly experience or anything. It was more like I want to go home. I won't spend too much time covering the World Center because each portal was pretty much the same thing. Themed rooms for like-minded players to connect about their favorite hobbies. Oh, except for the club portal, this one actually took you to a dance floor, though devoid of music and any other players, and more evidence of advertiser support. I tried seeing if anyone wanted to get down with me, but again, not much luck. Before heading to the next world, I had to use the restroom. Nothing too out of the ordinary here, that is, until you enter the actual stalls. For some reason, there was this creepy underground network of tunnels connected by the stalls. What the purpose of this could be, we'll probably never know. With no one accepting my invitation to club, I made my way to the next world. Animal House is a world that has, yep, you guessed it, a house. I made my way to the back first to check out the little outhouse in the backyard. It was a lot bigger on the inside, similar to the bathroom stalls in the previous world, and it seemed to connect to a tunnel which led to the main home's basement. This world had me feeling like I was exploring the village chief's manor in Resident Evil 4. As a gamer, this was heartbreaking to see. So heartbreaking that I went to drown my sorrows at the bar in the main room. In the corner of this house was a TV that made me feel a little weird because it was playing a loop of super staticky images, and I swear I saw a face in there at one point. But I'll let you decide. The house has its own avatar rooms, and as a VIP, I was pretty stoked to see that I had access to some exclusive models. Yeah, I think this suits me a little bit better. At this point, I think we explored a majority of the home, so apart from the upstairs, you can't enter any of the rooms, minus the attic. Attics already make me a bit uncomfortable, and the texture on this door definitely didn't help. So I think we're gonna go ahead and hop on over to the next world. Before we moved on to the next world, I wanted to regroup in the main area and plan out our route. Who knows, maybe one of the active players here had some suggestions, if I could get them to reply to my chats. It wasn't long before I was approached by the player we saw when we first came into the game, and while his character model made me somewhat uncomfortable, I figured we could chat with him about the game, its community, and see if he had any recommendations as far as what worlds to visit. While most of us grew up on social games like Roblox, Gaia, and Club Penguin, I found that this player had joined Worlds pretty early on. I wanted to see what they usually did here, especially since it seemed pretty dead, to which they replied that they like to chat with friends and explore custom worlds. It looks like they were probably just waiting for someone, I guess. I asked for some advice on searching for custom worlds, and they were nice enough to guide me through it and even send me a list of worlds on the game's wiki. Before exploring more worlds, I was curious about the number of sleeping players we witnessed when we first came in. They let me know that this is a common occurrence, but I didn't get much information as to why. They did let me know that they like to dance though, and even showed off their sick moves. I like this person, even though they didn't want to club with me. Having learned more about Worlds.com, and with a list of worlds to explore, I think we're ready to get back into it. I say goodbye to our friend, and we head over to the next world. It was pretty late at this point, and I wanted to see how uneasy I could make myself feel. After all, the countless videos I've seen covering Worlds.com make it out to be this spooky, mysterious game, and so I joined a world called the Blair Witch World. I'm not sure what I was expecting here, but I don't think it was this. Sure, the model behind the counter was a little creepy, but other than that, it was your typical diner setup with a few Blair Witch related posters. Maybe this was just another promo world. There were also some bangers on the jukebox, but unfortunately, I couldn't get any of them to play. The back room to this world just leads to the avatar gallery again, so yeah, it's safe to assume that this was just some sort of promo world that was built to promote Blair Witch. So let's visit something actually created by the Worlds.com community. While looking through the list of worlds given to me by our friend, I found a memorial world listed on the wiki page. I wanted to stop by and see how worlds.com came together to celebrate the life of one of their own. This world was called Dirk's Memorial, and according to the wiki, it was created by a player named Tony KHZ for his friend Small Dirk, who sadly passed away. It's one of the few and older memorial worlds still available to visit on the game, and it looks like there was a lot of love and care that went into creating this one. This just goes to show that sometimes it's the friendships you find through the power of online gaming that have the biggest impact on your life. And I hope that the creator of this world got some sort of closure after losing a close friend. The next world was called Memory, and it was more on the horror end in terms of world design, though it didn't have much going on that you can interact with. The gist of it is you're surrounded by wooden doors, which seem to all lead to corridors lined with colored walls, some red, some purple, and fire, and checkered pattern floors. I didn't really find much to do here, as I've said, other than walk the corridors, but the overall feel was uneasy. I didn't try every single door, so I may have missed something, but the few doors I did try were all the same thing. I think that this is the type of world that gives worlds.com the reputation for being spooky and culty. This world is called Skywalk To Heaven, and straight away you do get an odd feeling that you're about to walk into some sort of ritual. This world follows the journey of a character named Zeb. You make your way through various rooms and staircases, and according to the wiki, it's centered around the theme of finding heaven. The map is said to hold different long walks, traps, and dead ends, but me being a pro gamer and all only encountered one dead end at the beginning, which took me to an odd Titanic themed room. I made my way through the world choosing between different gates and walking these long hallways. Along the way, I ran into Zeb a couple of times, so surely that means that we're going the right way. In the distance, we see messages reading "not yet" and "question time" before we're met with another choice. They always tell you not to go toward the light, so naturally I went left. Eventually, we finally reach a room that reads, "Welcome, Zeb." And I assume that we made it to heaven, seeing as how there's a welcome party and a large banner that reads, "Your friends are here." This was one of the more interactive worlds I stumbled across. It seems like it actually had an objective and simulated somewhat of an actual game rather than just a place to chat, as we saw in things like the sports world and the club. I ran into a couple of issues loading some of the worlds that actually ended up crashing my computer, and though I tried to get this one to work because it seemed fascinating and I had seen it in previous videos, I could not get it to load, and I kept having to close the game via Task Manager, and so we're gonna have to skip this one. Our last stop is a world named Beloved. According to the wiki, this world was made by a player named Disparil around 2012 or 2013 as a tribute to their friends. Apparently, the players in this diorama are well known in the worlds.com community. At one end is the image of Disparil's old avatar, and on the other end sits the famous diorama of the group. Like Dirk's Memorial, this world showcases the bonds created on worlds.com. I wonder if any of the players come back to admire this tribute, or if they still talk to this day. So, is worlds.com a hub for cults like some have theorized? Not quite. While it certainly gives eerie vibes, I think this is mostly because it is just a product of its time. While a lot of the rooms and worlds seem to be advertisement campaigns for companies, artists, and movies, you also saw that there were players truly passionate about spending time with their friends in worlds.com, and a tight-knit community that could come together in times of mourning to honor those who made this place feel like home to so many. There's even a subreddit for the game, and for the most part, it's still fairly active. Worlds.com may be different to what we're used to when it comes to online multiplayer games, but to some, it's still just an escape and a little slice of comfort. Thank you so much for exploring this game with me. I've seen Worlds.com covered in some other videos about dead or abandoned games, but I wanted to check it out for myself and make a dedicated video on it. If you liked the video, feel free to stick around. I'd love to have you here for future videos. Thank you so much to this player, Pele Olin, for guiding me through something so foreign to me, and I hope that they continue to enjoy Worlds.com for years to come. I'll catch you guys in the next one.